Nuclear power. Nuclear power is generated using uranium, which is a metal mined in various parts of the world. The first large-scale nuclear power station opened at Calder Hall in Cumbria, England in 1956. Some military ships and submarines have nuclear power plants for engines. Nuclear power produces around 11% of the world's energy needs and produces huge amount of energy from small amount of fuel, without the pollution that you get from burning fossil fuel. How nuclear power works? From nuclear fusion, it will go to heat water to make steam. Steam turns to turbines. Turbines turn to generators to electrical power. Nuclear power station work in pretty much the same way as fossil fuel burning station, except that the chain reaction inside the nuclear reactors makes the heat instead. The reactor uses uranium rods as fuel, and the heat is generated by nuclear fission. Neutrons smash into a nucleus of the uranium atoms, which split roughly in half and release energy in the form of heat. Carbon dioxide gas or water is pumped through the reactor to make the heat away. This then heats water to make steam. The steam drives turbines which drive generators. Modern nuclear power stations use the same type of turbines and generator as conventional power stations. In Britain, nuclear power stations are often built in the coast and use seawater for cooling the steam ready to be pumped round again. This means that they don't have the huge cooling towers seen at the other power station. The reactor is controlled with control rods make the boron which absorb neutrons. When the rods are lowered into the reactor, they absorb more neutrons and the fusion process slowed down. To generate more power, the rods are raised and more neutrons can crash into uranium atoms. The advantage of nuclear power. First, nuclear power costs about the same as coal, so it's not expensive to make. Second, does not produce smoke or carbon dioxide, so it does not contribute to the greenhouse effect. Third, produce huge amount of energy from small amount of fuel. Fourth, produce small amounts of waste. 5. Nuclear power is reliable. The disadvantage of nuclear power. First, although not much waste is produced, it is very dangerous. It must be sealed up and buried for many thousands of years to allow the radioactive to die away. For all the time, it must be kept safe from earthquakes, flooding, terrorists, and everything else. This is difficult. Second, nuclear power is reliable, but a lot of money has to be spent on safety. If it does go wrong, a nuclear accident can be a major disaster. People are increasingly concerned about this. In the 1990s, nuclear power was the fastest growing source of power in much of the world. In 2005, it was the second slowest growing. More information about nuclear power. Natural uranium is only 0.7%, uranium-235, which is the type of uranium that undergoes fusion in this type of reactor. The rest of uranium-238, which just sit there getting in the way. Modern reactors use enriched uranium fuels, which is a higher proportion of U-235. The fuel arrives in case of metal tubes, which are lowered into the reactor whilst it's running using a special crane sealed up in the top of reactors. Well, another information of nuclear power is nuclear power from uranium is not renewable. Once they dug up on the Earth's uranium and use it, there isn't anymore. Walang bow. Stop.